I became a millionaire and made $300,000 this month by mastering something called the law of detachment. And it's kind of an opposite principle to what most people think. What most people think you need to do to make money or become a millionaire or get into the shape that you want or whatever it is to just do more action and put more effort and just try harder. That's what society tells you. And I did that for so many years. And it took me until 31 years of age to truly understand this one principle, which is the law of detachment. And basically, in short, it's just not actually caring what happens. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I'm going to explain the mechanics behind how this works. So when I was 19 years old, I, had a lot of energy. I had all these desires, all these dreams, and I wanted to make all this money and be this certain person. I had this whole vision for how my life was going to look. And I wanted it so much. I needed it so much. And I made some progress, but then as soon as I'd make a little bit of progress, kind of come back down again. And I'd make a little bit of progress and I'd come back down again. And what would happen is, for some reason, I would just self-sabotage myself every single time. Maybe you can relate to that, where you have some progress and then you come back down. Or what would happen is, maybe I would have some success, but then I would go out drinking, or I would go blow some money on traveling or something silly like that. Or maybe just I would randomly lose money for some sort of reason. In fact, this even happened to me in 2021 during COVID. I flew from London to Greece. And when I flew to Greece, I got there and Greece went into an even worse lockdown than the UK. And I flew there because I wanted to really make something of myself. And I was so focused on just making money. It was really interesting. I remember this one specific time I was sitting on top of my Airbnb, drinking a glass of wine, looking over at the sunset. And it looked like a great moment from the outside, but externally, at my laptop, I just had cancellations from all of my clients back then. And in 48 hours, I lost half of my business. And so after I just sat there and I thought, how did this happen? I put in all the work. I learned everything I needed to work. I showed up. I was disciplined. I did everything that everybody tells you you should do. Yet I still wasn't able to get the success that I knew I deserved. And here's the reason why. I placed so much importance on the outcome that it created something called excess potential. And what excess potential is when you want something so much, it creates this excess energy that actually pushes it away. It's kind of like when maybe you're really interested in a woman or a man, and maybe you've seen this with a friend where they just really want this person so much. And then what happens is they end up pushing that person away, and then that person starts playing hard to get, and then suddenly they're just chasing this person who's maybe even not up to their standards. The reason why is because they wanted it too much. They were too attached to it. And so with that same principle, well, you can apply that same principle to life. And as soon as I start doing this, the level of opportunity that has come to me, I literally have billionaires who will reach out to me and I say, hey, can I pay you, $50,000 or more for you to teach me how to do this stuff without me even going to them? Everybody asks me this all the time. How do you surround yourself with these networks and get into all these rooms? And what's the secret strategy? That's not it. The secret strategy is that I just don't care how it happens. Now, let me pause because I don't want you to make a mistake here that a lot of people make. This does not mean being apathetic. This does not mean not actually putting in some level of effort. No, it just means that I'm okay with how it happens and when. And if you take this month, for example, making $300,000, for a lot of people, that's an amount of money that they could only dream of. And you know what the funny thing is? I didn't even know I made that much money until I checked yesterday. It's this balance of knowing where to put the energy. Because the mistake that I made and that many people make is so much of that energy, so much of that focus goes into trying to create the outcome. Okay, well, this is what life will be like here. Like once I get to this point, then I'll be happy. And when I live in this place, or I drive this car, or I have this watch, then I'll be able to attract that man or that woman. What happens is all that energy goes there, and it gets directed there instead of into being the person who actually is capable of creating that. People ask me like, how do you decide what to focus on or what to do? It's simple. Anything that isn't aligned to my vision specifically and what I want to do is just a no. Because all of those things and all those other areas where your energy can get stolen from you, can taken from you for watching social media, listening to people, whatever it is robbing you and making you too attached to those outcomes. And most of the time, you're getting attached to other people's desire, other people's outcomes. You see the yachts and you see the cars and you think, I want that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. Do you really want it for you? is it truly what is aligned to you? Because when something is truly aligned to you, it's actually not hard to get. It's actually easy to get. It just becomes like a reflection of you. Reality is like a mirror. If you become the version of yourself who is the guy who's a millionaire or a billionaire, who is the confident person, who is the person who's in great shape, who does love themselves, who does feel like they're worthy enough, then naturally, how do you think reality is going to treat you? How do you think other people are going to treat you? If you can't even respect yourself, how do you expect other people to respect you? If you can't invest into yourself, how do you expect other people to invest into you? It's all a reflection. It's all a mirror. And so I realized that when I started making the most money in my life, it was when I took money off the pedestal. It was when I stopped making the goal just about money. Now, do I still have financial goals? Yes, I do. Is my state bothered if I get them or not? Not really. Not really. Because it's not even about the money goal or about whatever the goal is. It's about who you become in the process and actually the way that you feel about yourself inside and the growth in the pursuit of that process and who you become. I'll tell you this. People ask me, okay, you work with billionaires, you coach these billionaires, you hypnotize these billionaires. Yeah. Well, what are their problems? You know what the funny thing is? It's not money. It's not success. It's not having more stuff. They would actually give up any amount of money or success to just feel good inside, to not feel like they're torturing themselves. Because you can be a billionaire, but if you're even making less money comparatively every single month, you're still going to not feel good about yourself. So everything is relative and reality is a mirror. And so if detachment is the key, how do you actually use this in practice? You use it by reprogramming your mind, first of all. You have to start telling yourself not what you want implies to your subconscious mind that you do not have it. If you want something, what does that mean? You're in lack. You're not in abundance. So you have to first of all tell yourself that you are this person. I remember a little over a year ago telling my girlfriend, hey, I'm going to be coaching these billionaires. And my girlfriend's amazing. She believes in me, but even she was like, how the heck are you going to do that? But I knew deep down inside of me, and I had so much certainty that it was going to happen. In my mind, it had already happened. And so by default, it wasn't a goal. It was something I was already experiencing internally. And that was when things started to shift rapidly. Opportunities come in, money comes in, ideas come in, the right people come in. Why? Because detaching from that outcome is signaling out. And if you want to go on like a universal level, a manifestation level, just signaling and you're vibrating at that state and at that reality. Rule number one of creating your own reality is simple. Like attracts like. And so if you can be the person of yourself who has that reality, instead of trying to chase and capture that reality, it has no choice but to come to you. It becomes automatic because on a deeper subconscious level, you believe that you're already there. And now if I ask you this, how confident are you that you can make the same money that you made last month? Probably pretty confident, right? Why? Well, you already did it. So you have the belief that you can do it again. Now, if I ask you, how confident are you that you can make 10 times the amount of money next month? You're a lot less confident. Why? Because you haven't done it yet. And it's outside of your zone of comfort. It's outside of your current perception, which means subconsciously what you do is you put that money that's 10 times higher than you on a pedestal. And as soon as you put it on a pedestal, it's like the same as when you see a hot girl walking down the street, some model, and you want to go and talk to her and you can't do it. You freeze. You literally freeze. You have fear come up. Why? Because you're attached. Because you put them above you. And anything that you put above you, by default, you cannot have. By default, you'll always be below it. And what happens is people subconsciously put themselves below their goals without even realizing, which is why they're always chasing their goals. When you become the person who is already in your world achieving that goal, already has that goal, already has that life, already has that confidence, already has those character traits, who is already doing all the things that they need to do to have the goal, that is when things happen 10 times quicker. That is how you literally collapse time and make things happen at quantum speed. You can get to your goals at any point in life, right? But do you want to get to your goals in 50 years or do you want to get to your goals in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months? Because I can tell you this, the billionaires that I work with, they don't value money that highly. Why? Because they have an abundance of it. But what do they value? They value time. They value time because they know it's the only non-renewable resource in the world. So when it comes to asking yourself, how does that next level version of yourself act? Let's say you want to be a millionaire and you're not yet. Think about the thing that you know you need to do. the thing that you've been avoiding, the thing that you've been putting off, whatever that thing is, think about that. Now ask yourself this question. How would the millionaire version of yourself act? What would they do differently? And immediately an answer will come into your mind. Well, they would just do it. They'd be more confident. They'd be more certain it would already be done. They'd do this action. They'd fly here. They'd hire this person. They'd get whatever it is, right? You know the answers. So that proves to you that the answers are already inside of you. And so by continuously programming your mind to be that version of yourself and telling yourself that you're that version of yourself, it will happen. And there's a reason why when you look at a lot of the greatest people of all time who have achieved the biggest things, they talk about this same principle. Call it law of attraction, law of detachment, call it manifestation, whatever it is, it's all essentially the same principle. First, you have to think it. Then you have to believe it. And then once you believe it, you become it. And when you become that version of yourself, that next level version of yourself, the world has no choice but to surrender to what it is you are, because it's not coming by force. It's just a reflection. And so this is how I have used the law of detachment in my life to get more than I ever could have thought that I wanted. Here's all I can say. Those things that you want, you already know this, but they don't bring you the happiness that you think that they will. Why does everyone reach a goal and then once they reach the goal, they're not actually fulfilled when they get there? Well, it's simply because the goal wasn't the actual thing that created the fulfillment. It was the pursuit of getting there. And so how do you get there faster? You become the person. That is my message to you today. Who do you need to be in order to get to where you want to go? Start being that person now.